thank you for joining me for today's practice on balance and stability. If we haven't had the chance to connect face to face, my name is Helena. I'm the owner of Infine Feather Yoga in Hamilton, and I will be guiding you through today's session. Finding a position on the back where your legs and your arms can be comfortable, whether it's stretching them straight out, looping the shoulders down the back, maybe even resting your hands on the abdomen. Soften your gaze when you feel like you can start dropping into your body. And before doing anything to alter or change your breath just yet, simply notice the breath that you've arrived on your mat with today. Without any judgment, just watching the quality of it. So whether it's even just a little short or staggered. As you soften into the body and shift your awareness inwards, maybe already you're starting to create some more space for longer inhales and deeper exhales. Perhaps it would even support your body to take a full breath in through your nose. And then open up your mouth and sigh your breath out. Releasing any tension you've carried onto your mat with you today. Go again, deep breath in. And full breath out. From here, see if you can continue to build on a breath that becomes a little more constant and a little steady. And as each day passes, I begin to notice sort of patterns of where all of our energies seem to go, and we're going through waves of emotions, highs and lows. There seems to be a language that we're speaking to each other in, which is, be safe and stay well. And this is all we can really ask of ourselves right now, is to support one another with that language. Bring that language onto your mat with you. Be safe and stay well. And how can we embody this through our movement? Just making sure that you're not pushing yourself any deeper than you need to this morning. Make sure you're moving in a way that supports you and feeling well and safe. We begin practice by tuning into breath to become really familiar with how it feels to support ourselves with longer inhales and deeper exhales, so that we know in our practice if we've maybe gone a little bit too far, the breath will become altered. That's your kind of indicator to maybe slow down, take a step back, reconnect. So as we set the tone and pace for our practice, use that same language that we're using for the people we love and those around us. Use the same language for yourself. Stay safe and be well. And we will all remember this time, even as a community coming together, feeling that community sense of being well. And we're in it together. That's something else I keep coming across a lot. We've all had to postpone things. We've all had to cancel things, push things back. We've all had to reinvent ourselves in some ways to this new way of life. And it's temporary, this we know. Especially in today's class, when we start moving and breathing together, we're in this together. And I'll do my best to support you through a practice that invites you to feel safe and to feel well. Allow the next couple breaths to be retained at the top. So when the lungs are full and expanded, hold that space. And then allow yourself to release it and hold the lungs empty. Doing that maybe one more time, the breath with expansion to retain, the empty to let go. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, rock your head from side to side. Perhaps even loop the shoulders, roll your wrists. Take your time to bend at the knees. If you have anything around you, maybe set it off to the side. If you're not on the back, roll yourself down. And then with the feet planted, windshield wipe your knees from side to side. Feel that slight rotation through the low back. A little bit of an opening through your hips. And then plant your feet down through center. Walk the heels in towards the bum. Make sure your knees are set to hip distance. Activate your legs. So without actually lifting your hips yet, try and pull your heels in towards your bum. And feel how that activates your glutes and your hamstrings. Charge the legs. Inhale, lift your hips up. See if you can keep the engagement through your glutes, through your bum. And then slowly roll your spine back down. And even really let the pelvis rock forward and tip forward so you create a little bit of an arch through the low back. Then rock the pelvis back forward, curl your hips up, active legs, heels pressing down into the earth. Maybe lifting the hips a tiny bit higher, rolling down, and then don't forget, rock the pelvis forward, a little length through the low back. Activate the glutes, drag the heels in, lift your hips up. Roll your hips down. Pay attention to this and do this 3 more times. Strong through the legs, fluid through the movement, and fluid through your breath at the same time. And pausing for that moment at the top, the next time your hips lift. Feel an opening through the front body. Release yourself all the way back down. One at a time, draw your knees in towards your chest. Your knees don't have to be right together. Maybe you prefer to open up the hips, take the knees a bit wider. Rocking side to side. Then making your way into tabletop on your hands and knees. Now you can rock and roll if that feels good. And then you're supporting yourself by stacking the shoulders on top of your wrists. Look under your belly. Your knees are under your hips. Grip with your fingertips. Press your knuckles down. Flip your toes. And then hover your knees an inch from the earth. And what I want you to notice is the drawing in of the front body, containing in towards your back body. This engagement through your core, you can still breathe even though you feel a bracing. This will support you a lot when we come into standing to find stability through the midsection. Lower your knees down, bring your big toes together, and then just rest the hips back. Child's pose, rest your forehead. Notice how the arm bones were working, and even the legs, that same engagement, a little bit from the glutes, a little into your hamstrings, will help you when you're in your rooted standing legs. Take one more breath in child's pose. Let's together come back to tabletop. We'll do that one more time just to become more familiar with the sensation of bracing and activating, but still being able to breathe. Spread your fingers, lift your knees, hold for 3. Try to keep the neck long, so don't look down, look past your fingertips. Inhale and exhale for 2. Dig your feet down, activate the legs, last breath. You're going to soften your knees to the earth, and let's walk the hands over towards the right side of the mat. Creating a gentle C shape in your spine. Breathe into that space, expanding your ribs. Hands walk back through center, pace towards the left. Deep breath in and out. Come through to center. Take your right foot, step it through between your hands, or grab the ankle, place the foot there. Let's lift off the back knee, and then try to gently scissor through the legs, so drag your right heel back without actually moving it. Pull your left toes forward. You'll stabilize the pelvis to lift yourself up into crescent lunge. Good. The option here to extend your arms so they can stay on your hips. And watch here if you're really flaring and opening up through the front body, overextending the lower back. Let's lengthen the spine, tailbone down, front ribs lightly draw in. Imagine you were still pressing your hands into the earth in your tabletop, hugging in on the spine. One more breath in crescent lunge. And then release your hands down to frame your foot. Let's take our first downward dog. Right foot steps back. Pike your hips high. Have about 2 small fists between your feet, so not much wider. Even they can be a little bit more narrow. Deep bend through your knees and press your belly back towards your thighs. Do you feel how that lengthens the backs of your hamstrings? Even helps to lengthen your lower back as the sits bones tip up a little higher. Inhale and exhale. Look forward, then step your left foot through. If it doesn't come up all the way, you can shimmy it forward or inch your back foot back. Tense your fingers, find a bit of a wider base with your feet. Sometimes we put our feet a little too narrow. Activate your legs, squeeze your bum, lift your torso up. This is that drawing back of the left hip forward through the right that helps get everything really neutral through the lower half. Reach up through the upper. Activate the arm bones. Imagine even pressing them maybe into the ceiling. Lightly drawing front ribs into back, but still breathing fully. Can you still feel the chest and the ribs and the belly expand? One more round in. And then release your hands down, breathe out. Step yourself back into downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet. Try to accentuate spreading your toes. Waking up the arches of your feet, the balls of your feet. Look to the top of your space and then step, walk, or hop yourself forward. Slide the hands up onto your shins. Flatten your back, lift your chest. You're trying to create like a tabletop. Hold for that extra round. Bring weight into your toes. Charging through the legs. Your toes will grip to help support the weight of the upper body. Lead with your heart. Breathe in. Bow yourself forward, let it go, breathe out. Your head can hang in space. It might feel good to shake the head out, yes or no. And then press down through the feet, rise up to stand on an inhale, arms reaching overhead, get tall. And then shake your arms out, let them go. Good, peek down at your toes and watch that your second and third toe face forward, so we don't want external rotation. Pivot the toes to face the top of your mat. Good. Reach the arms high, breathe in, and then cactus style your arms down, breathe out. Watch that you're not overextending through the spine, front ribs hug in, twist towards your right. Notice the sensation of what's activating to find your twist. Back to center, breathe in, get a little taller. Twist the opposite direction. Returning to center, float arms high. Big dive forward, let it all go. Good. Hands to shins, flatten your back, lift your heart. Bend your knees enough to take your hands down. Let's come into our first plank position. Really similar to our tabletop. Press the earth away from you. That sensation where we lifted and hovered the knees an inch. Maybe we do the same with the pelvis. Lift the hips just an inch. Watch what hugs in and how the back body presses. If the breath is short or shaky, take your knees down. Support yourself, inhale. To be safe as you lower down, exhale. From your belly, keep the elbows pointing up towards the sky. Press into the shoelace side of your feet, lift your heart up. If this feels okay through the back body and the neck, you can come all the way up into your upward dog. Pull your hips back in space. Flip your toes, downward dog. Dropping the head between your arm bones. And let the head be heavy. Your next inhale kicks your right leg high behind you. Then come high onto your left toes to rock forward into your hands. Right knee to chest, step your right foot through. Adjust the base between your feet. So look under the belly, make sure you're not on a tight rope. Set your feet to more like train tracks. And then come up to stand, crescent lunge. Let's take the hands to prayer and heart center. Lean forward into your right leg. And then when you're ready, see if you can swing your left foot through. Bring your knee to your chest. Good. Take your right hand onto your hip. Take your left hand, press it into your left thigh. You can do this a little, or you can do this a lot. You can back off and then do that again. And just getting that sensation of the core helping to keep you steady and standing. And hand to thigh, sometimes some good leverage. One more breath. Take your left toes, swing them back, and see if you can catch yourself in your lunge. Reach up through your arms. Release your hands down. Step into plank. Bring your big toes or even your knees together if the knees are down. And squeeze your inner thighs together. Squeeze your big toe mounds together. And the pelvis being a part of the core. Hugging in, look past your mat. Lower through your push-up. Pointed toes, heart comes up halfway. Option to come up all the way. Pike your hips back in space. Downward facing dog, we meet there. And if downward dog is not feeling restful, take child's pose this morning. Where can you become steady with your inhales, steady with your exhales? The left leg goes high behind. Right heel lifts up, rock forward, look forward, knee to chest, step your foot through. Find your foundation, so familiar with the feet hugging in to lift your torso up. Float the arms, but activate your arms. Lengthen the spine with your inhale. Bring your hands to heart center, exhale. Lean into the left leg, but maybe look and see if you could spread your left toes out a little bit more, fan them out, and grip into them to swing your right knee through to your chest. The toes need to touch down to steady, and then lift. Left hand onto your hip, right hand onto your thigh, press it in, activate, as much or as little as you'd like to go, as long as you're not restricting how you're breathing. Check in. Swing the right toes back. Crescent lunge, reach the arms up. Float your hands down. Take your back foot, let's step it forward. You're at the top of your mat in a forward fold. Belly on thighs, deep bend in your knees, dropping your head down. Lift the heart, flatten your back. Bow back to thighs. Rise up, inhale. Press your hands through center, exhale. Watch for the external rotation in your toes, pivot your toes forward. Fan your toes out. Good. Bend your knees, Utkatasana, chair. With a little bit of a variation. So know how when we were in that plank position, we were squeezing the knees together, hugging in through the inner thigh. Don't let your knees collapse together. Imagine there was a block there and you had to squeeze it. And then rock into your toes. See if you can lift up your heels. As high as you can onto your tiptoes. Keep trying to pull your bum back as you hinge your heart forward. Holding for 3. Just shifting the weight a little bit for 2. Ground your heels down. Shoot up through the legs. Deep breath in. Then dive it all forward, let it go. Heart to lift, chest to open. Bend your knees a lot, and then take your hands down. Step your feet to plank. Once the feet are back in your plank position, engage through inner thighs. Squeeze a little through your glutes, supporting the heaviest part of the body, the pelvis. And then lower through your push-up, exhale. Beautiful pointed toes, lengthening the heart up, cobra or upward dog. Exhale to downward dog. Let's all take a moment to soften onto knees, check in for child's pose. And if child's pose, with the body bowing forward, if that ever feels like too restricting, bring yourself upright, catch your breath where you need to. Sometimes if child's pose feels uncomfortable on your knees, you might lift your torso or even take a tabletop. How's the rhythm? Are you moving in a way on your mat this morning that still encourages you to feel safe? To feel well? And to feel and know that we are all in this together. Maybe that's why so many of us are arriving every morning for that reminder. Take your time to come into tabletop. Knees under hips, shoulders on top of wrists. The movement from our pelvis, rocking it forward, lifting the heart. Start with the pelvis, tuck your tail. Round the spine, chin to chest, heavy head. Inhale, sweep back forward, lift your heart. Open the chest, micro bend your elbows. Exhale to round, hollow out. One more time. Neutral spine. Lightly claw at the mat with your fingertips. This helps to strengthen the wrists and your forearms. Lift the knees, downward dog. Right leg goes high behind. Maybe you circle your right ankle 3 times one way, and then 3 times the opposite. Right knee to chest, squeeze in, rock onto your left toes, flick your left foot through. If you're right foot, we're on the right foot. Make sure the right foot is towards the right side of your mat. Lift your torso up, crescent lunge. And move on your pace, not mine, to find steadiness, arms reach. Take your hands to prayer. Lean into the right leg. Swing your left foot through. Again, toes can touch down. Lift the knee up. Right hand onto your hip. This time use your left hand. Maybe draw the left knee in a little closer. You can grab for your thigh, maybe your shin. Even if you can't catch the leg and it's floating in space, this is okay. If your balance feels steady today and you want to play with your balance, you have the option here, if you have the room in your house, to take 3 hops back and then 3 hops forward. Can you still hold the leg? Good, and if you fall out, you can have a little laugh at yourself. It's no big deal. Kick your left foot forward, release it down and shake it off. Sometimes we take ourselves a little too seriously. Find your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Sounded breath in through nose, out through mouth. Hands to prayer. Bend your knees. Imagine the block between your thighs. Maybe your big toes are right together and it's okay for the knees to come in. We just don't want to collapse them in. Whatever feels best for the hips, knees, and ankles. Rock forward into your toes. Try to lift up your heels. Good, and think about all 10 of your toes. They're super strong. Rocking into them, they're gripping and they're calibrating to hold you and hold all of your weight so you don't fall right forward. Good, ground your heels, shoot up through the legs, deep breath in. Beautiful, let it all go, bow forward, empty out. Flatten your back and lift your chest. Bend your knees, plant your palms, step your feet back to plank position. If your wrists are starting to feel fatigued, go right back to downward dog, or find some strength in the arms to lower slowly, chest, belly, thighs. Slide your thumbs back so they're in line with the low ribs, and lift your heart up. Keep the back of your neck relaxed, so try not to crank the head back. Keep your head in line with your heart. Downward facing dog, pull your hips back in space. A breath on purpose. Your left leg goes high. Rolling out the left ankle, 3 circles one way.
Really trying to wake up your feet, 3 circles the other way. Left knee to chest, rock forward, shift forward, flick your foot through. Steady yourself and then lift your torso. When you're ready, float your arms. And floating the arms, just take a deep breath in, opening through the whole side body, expand into your ribs. Bring your hands to prayer in front. We're familiar with the transition. Lean forward. Feel the left leg get stronger and how you have to step into it to bring your right knee through. Tendency is to rock back. Try to lean a little forward so your shoulders, hips, and heel stay in line. Grab hold of the right knee, maybe the thigh, or keep the leg hovering. If you feel like being playful on this side, go for it. Take those 3 hops back. And 3 hops forward. Let your left leg catch you. Get tall for an inhale. Beautiful. Kick your right foot out. Lower it down. Shake everything off. And then stand with a sense of attention in Tadasana, where the alignment of every position can be found. Our midline, so the crown of the head, running down through the spine into the tailbone. You can feel even how the lower half of your body presses down as the upper half of your body lengthens up, palms face forward. Feel the breath traveling all the way through the body. Do you even feel like you can stand with a little more stability? Rock side to side. And notice as you rock to the right, what kind of holds you on the left? How the core engages to draw you back. Rock forward and back into your toes. And see, as you rock forward, the core holds you from falling forward. You rock back. The quads hold you from falling back. Bodies are meant to hold us. Reach the arms, breathe in. Bow your body forward, breathe out. Halfway to lift. Bend your knees, plant the palms. If you can plant your palms, press into them fully. One day the feet hop to the back of your mat. Chaturanga Dandasana, the elbows hug into your body. Cobra or upward dog. Pike your hips back, downward dog. Inhale and exhale. Come to a position on your knees in your own expression of child's pose. Knees wide or close together. Rest your head. Sip water if the body needs some water. And just as we started the practice, can you find that highest point of your inhale with a little bit of retention, and then slow it down. The bottom part of your exhale, empty. Do that one more time. Bring yourself into seated, lift your torso, swing your legs around, we'll cross the legs, rock side to side. Maybe adding a little height under the bum with a block or a pillow. If you know that that creates more of your pelvic tilt forward to lengthen your lower back. We'll be here just for a few moments. Loop your shoulders up, back, and down. They soften into a comfortable position. Sweep your arms high. Take your hands to prayer.
Try to keep your thumbs to the midline, so the center of your chest and your sternum. Twist towards the right. Come back to center, breathe in, and then twist towards the left. Return to neutral. We'll go one more time right. This time your right fingertips can place back behind you, perhaps using your left hand along the right leg to deepen the twist just a little bit. So we had our first sort of barrier, now we're recruiting the hands, maybe moving a tiny bit deeper. Don't alter the breath. You can take the gaze past your shoulder. Return to neutral. And we want to see again, hands to prayer, lengthen up as if there were hooks from your armpits pulling you towards the ceiling a bit. Twist towards the left and pause when you hit your first barrier. So this would maybe be our natural range of motion. Left hand back behind you, recruiting the right hand to assist you in going a little deeper. Gaze to center, unwind the body. Let's bend the knees and plant your feet down. And very slowly roll onto your back. You're using hands to thighs or hands back behind you. Knees to chest. Rock side to side. And this rocking motion that you're creating, sort of cradling and holding yourself. In many ways, the practice is like self-soothing and nourishing. Plant your feet down one at a time. Heels in close enough towards the bum that it doesn't feel uncomfortable on your knees, but you can sort of dig the heels back into the earth and in towards the body so you feel the bum and the hamstrings ignite. So we're recruiting those muscles to help us in lifting the hips. So press down even through your shoulders. Send your hips high. You still have that imaginary block between the thighs. They're lightly hugging in on it. And imagine creating like a tunnel along the spine, eventually trying to lift up even through that space between your shoulder blades. One more inhale. Release that engagement, lift your heels, roll yourself down. Sway your knees from side to side. And as you sway right to left, I'll encourage you to do this even just a little bit slower. And recite through mind's eye, I am safe. I am well. We are in this together. We'll do that back bend one more time. Rooting the feet. It never hurts to look that the knees aren't right together, but they're not too wide. Gentle space between them. Press down through your shoulders so you can feel your heart open. Ground into your feet, lift your hips. If you feel really strong through the legs, transfer the weight into your right foot. This is just an option to make it a bit more advanced. Maybe you can lift up your left heel and draw your left knee in towards your chest. If you got there and realized it was a terrible idea, you can always plant it back down. Breathe in. Lower your left foot, grip into your left toes, squeeze through your left inner thigh, Option for the right leg to come in. Lower your right down. Beautiful, lower the whole back down. And this is for you right now, these final moments, to take a gentle hip opener. Maybe you let the balls of the feet come together, the knees to open wide. Perhaps you prefer happy baby pose, knees to chest, taking the knees out, pulling the knees down. Maybe you'd prefer Baddha Konasana, seated, bowing forward. Just take one last hip opener of choice for 5 breaths. Breathe fully into the lower belly. So sometimes when we work with balance and stability and twisting, the core braces a bit. So now let the abdomen be really soft. After your 5th breath, close the knees together. Prepare yourself for resting pose, Shavasana. Stretching out your legs, stretching out your arms. Invite the use of a prop, a block, a bolster, a pillow under your knees if that helps take any tension or strain or pulling off the lower back. Arms away from the body. Breath full. Eyes closed. Settle into this position. I am safe. I am well. And we're in this together. Taking these moments in the body to know and feel that sensation. And trusting that my voice will guide you back. Start to lengthen your breath in and out. Awaken into your body, wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rock your head from side to side, flutter through the eyes if that feels good. When you're ready, bend your knees, hug them into your chest. Always important to thank yourself for making this time to be here. For even rooting yourself in affirmations to help guide you through your day. Roll onto the right or left side using your arm as a pillow. And then we'll meet together in a seated position. Taking hands onto our heart. Allowing for a few breaths up into that space. And my invitation to you is to take those affirmations with you, the reminders through our day to do what we can. We are all in this together. Take hands to prayer. Be safe. Be well. Namaste.